Hi everyone and welcome back. In this video, I will be designing a portfolio website using Bootstrap 5. So as you can see on the left side, we have this navigation, and on the right side, we have this main section. So if I click on the services, so now we are in the services section and this link is now active. So as you can see, and after the services, we have this project section. Okay, and you can see the hover effect. Okay, so after the work section, we have this about us section. Okay, so in the about us section, on the left side we have this education, and on the right side we have the experience of this person. Okay, so if I click on the reviews, so now we are in this reviews section. So these are the different reviews for this person. And after that, if I click on the blog section, so now we are in the blog section, and you can see the same kind of effect as well here. Okay, so after that we have the contact us. So if I click on the contact, so now we are in the contact us section and we have a form here. Okay, so after that we have a simple footer. Okay, so this is completely responsive. So let me show you this on different viewport width. Okay, so now we are showing this on 1440 width. So if I change this to the tablets, so as you can see, the navigation bar changes like this. Okay, and this is responsive, so as you can see on the tablet. So let me show you this on the mobile. So as you can see on the mobile, it is looking perfect. Okay guys, so I will be designing this from the very beginning, so make sure to watch the video till the end. And without further ado, let's dive into the video. So the first thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna download all the assets that I have used. So I'm gonna first visit to the Git Bootstrap website and then click on the docs and then download. So I'm gonna download this. Okay, so then I'm gonna visit to the Line Awesome website. So these are the icon pack that I have used. Okay, so then I'm gonna click on this download button. Okay, and the downloading will be start soon. Okay, and then I'm gonna visit to the animate on scroll. So as you can see, these are the different animation is happening here when you scroll down. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll to the bottom and then click on the download. Okay, so I'm gonna copy these. Okay, so here it is. So I'm gonna extract the bootstrap first. So I'm gonna open this. I'm gonna extract. Okay, and also I'm gonna extract this line awesome. And I'm gonna extract the animate on scroll as well. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a new folder here. I'm gonna name this John Carter. Okay, and I'm gonna copy this bootstrap CSS file. So I'm gonna open that, and I'm gonna copy this bootstrap.main.js. So I'm gonna open this folder. I'm gonna create a new folder. I'm gonna name this assets. So inside this assets folder, I'm gonna create a new folder for the CSS. So I'm gonna paste right here. So then I'm gonna go back to the bootstrap and I'm gonna copy this bundle.min file. Okay, then I'm gonna create a new folder for the JavaScript and I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, so here I'm going to create a new folder for the images. Okay, so I'm going to copy the images that I have used in the finished project into this assets folder. Okay, so I'm going to paste the images right here. Okay, so I'm going to open VS Code and I'm going to drag this folder inside VS Code. Okay, and then I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to name this index.html. Okay, so then I'm going to go to the download, and then I'm going to open the line awesome, and I'm going to copy this line awesome.main.css, and I'm going to paste it inside the CSS here. Okay, and then I'm going to copy this font folder, copied, and I'm going to paste it inside this asset folder. Okay, and then I'm going to again visit to the download, and I'm going to go to this AOS distribute, and I'm going to copy this CSS file. Inside the CSS folder, I'm going to paste it, and then I'm going to copy the JavaScript. Okay, and inside the JS, I'm going to paste it. All right. Okay, so I'm going to open VS Code. Okay, here I'm going to create a new file. This will be style.css. Okay, and inside the JS, I'm going to create a new file, main.js. Okay, so I'm going to create a boilerplate. So by typing HTML and then select this one and hit enter. Okay, so I'm going to link to the first one will be the Bootstrap CSS. Second one will be this, and third one will be line awesome, and the last one is style.css. And also I'm going to link to the JavaScript files. So Bootstrap, and then animate on scroll, JS, and main.js. So that's it for the basic setup. So I'm gonna open this file with the live server. Okay, so I'm gonna change this document title to, I'm gonna type John Carter UI UX designer. I'm gonna save it, and let's see. So we have that title right here. Okay, so I'm gonna copy the colors that I have used in the finished project. So these are the variables that I have used. So I'm gonna visit to the style.css file, and here I'm gonna paste it. Okay, and then I'm gonna visit to the fonts.google.com, and I'm gonna search for by Jamjuri font. Okay, I'm gonna click on that, and then I'm gonna select 400 weight, 5, 6, and 7. Click on that icon and click on import, and I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna paste it right here. Okay, so I'm gonna reset some of the default properties. So I'm gonna select the body. Okay, the first thing that I'm gonna do is to change the background color to this base 2 color. Okay, then I'm gonna change the text color to color body. Okay, and I'm going to change the font family as well. Font base, if this is not available, font will be sans serif. So let's see. So as you can see, the background has now changed, and then I'm going to select all the headings from H1 to H6. I'm going to change the color to color heading. Okay, and I'm going to give font weight 700. Okay, and then I'm going to select the anchor tag. Okay, remove the text decoration, and I'm going to give a color to the body color, and I'm going to give a transition to this as well. 0.4 second is okay, and on hover I'm going to change the text color with the brand color. Okay, then I'm going to select the image tag, and I'm going to set the width to 100%. So I want all the images to be responsive. Okay, so that's it for the basics reset for now. And then I'm going to visit to the Bootstrap website. I'm going to search for navigation bar. Okay, and then I'm going to scroll down. Okay, and I'm going to copy this navigation bar, and here I'm going to create a comment. Navigation bar, and I'm going to paste it right here. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we have this navigation bar. So I'm going to remove this BG light. Okay, and then I'm going to give another class. This will be navigation dark. Save it. So as you can see, and I'm going to remove this fluid as well. So we have some space now, and then I'm going to select remove that text. I'm going to create a span, and I'm going to type John Carter. Okay, then I'm going to give a class h3. Okay, and I'm going to give a font weight bold. Okay, so this will be our logo, and I'm going to push these navigation links to the right side. So for that I'm going to type margin start auto, which means from the margin left auto. Okay, so as you can see, and I'm going to remove some of the links. So the first link will be home, and when a user click on this link, it will go to the home section. I'm going to duplicate this. This will go to let's see, home services work. This will go to the services section. I'm going to copy this. This will go to the work. Copy. This will go to about reviews blog contact. Reviews blog and contact. Okay, so I'm going to rename this as well. So I'll go to the blog section, reviews, and this will go to the about us section. Save it, and let's see. So we have these different links. So what I'm going to do at a specific breakpoint, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show the navigation bar like this, but when I resize the window, so as you can see, the navigation bar goes to the top. Okay, so for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the navigation bar. So I'm going to create a comment. I'm going to select the navigation bar. Okay. So I'm going to type media. Okay, so I'm going to type minimum width. Okay, so it means if the browser window is equal to this or greater than this, then I'm going to select the navigation bar. Okay, so I'm going to give a minimum height 100 VH. Okay, and I'm going to give a width as well. So the width is going to be sidebar width variable. Okay, and I'm going to change the background to linear gradient. So the first color, for now let me just put the red color, and then select the image, sidebar image. So I'm going to copy this brand color value, and instead of this red, I'm gonna paste that here. Okay, so then I'm going to reduce the opacity. Select the RGB, reduce the opacity. Again select this, and I'm going to reduce the opacity to 0. Let's say 9, 0.9. Okay, so as you can see, we have that image now, and then I'm gonna select background size to cover. Okay, and set the background position to center. Okay, so then I'm going to select this container, and I'm going to change the flex direction to column. So as you can see, these are showing row. So if you the default direction for the flex is row, so I'm going to change that to the column. So I'm going to type flex on LG column. So it means on large devices and above large, the direction will be column. So I'm going to save it. So as you can see, that has now changed to the column. And also I'm going to change the direction to these navigation links to the column as well. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to type flex on large and above large to column. So as you can see, these are now displaying at the top of each other. And also I'm going to give a text align center to the navigation. So I'm going to type text on LG center. Okay. And I'm going to hide this. Okay. This logo text on large devices. So I'm going to type display block. Okay. And on large, D on display none on large devices. So okay, so that are now hidden. So I'm going to create an image. Select an image. So select the person image, save it. So as you can see, we have this image, and I'm going to hide this image below the large. So I'm going to type class display none. Okay, on LG, I'm going to show this. So as you can see, we have that logo text, but we don't have that image. Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna select the navigation bar here. Then I'm gonna select the navigation link. Okay, I'm gonna give a font weight 700. Okay, set the text transform to uppercase. Okay, and change the color to white. So I'm gonna change the color to white. Okay, so I'm gonna give some space between the image. So I'm gonna select this brand. I'm gonna type margin bottom on LG for rem. So as you can see, we have some space now. Okay, and on hover, I'm gonna change the color to brand color. Save it. So as you can see on hover, the color is changing. Okay, so then I'm gonna select the image. Okay, so I'm gonna add another class, rounded circle. Okay, and I'm gonna give um, a border to that image. So I'm gonna select navigation brand, select the image. Okay, so we have this class navbar brand, and inside this we have this image. Okay, so I'm gonna give a border. So I'm gonna give a border, add pixel, solid, variable, brand color, save it. So as you can see, we have that border. So as you can see, this image is not horizontally in the center. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select this navigation brand. I'm gonna type margin left and right on LG, and above LG should be auto. Save it. So as you can see, this is now in the center exactly. Okay, so that's it for the navigation. Okay, so I'm gonna reduce the opacity for the sidebar, set 0.8. Save it. Okay, looking cool. Okay, so now I'm gonna design the main section. So for that, I'm gonna create a new comment. This will be content wrapper. Okay, so here I'm gonna create a div. I'm gonna give it an ID. This will be content wrapper. Okay, so this will be our content holder. So all our content will go inside this content wrapper. So I'm gonna create a section. This will be the home section. Okay, here I'm gonna create a section tag, and I'm gonna give it an ID home, and I'm gonna create a container. Inside this container, I'm gonna create a row, and inside this row, I'm gonna create column LG8. So it means this div will cover 8 column space on large and above large, and below this it will gonna cover 12 column space. Okay, so I'm gonna put a h1. Okay, so I'm gonna copy the text. I'm gonna paste the text right here. Okay, then I'm gonna create a paragraph. I'm gonna copy this. Okay, then I'm gonna create a button and a link. I'm gonna create a button, so this will be button brand, explore my work. And if a user click on this button, it will go to the work section. Then I'm gonna create another link. This will be class link custom call. So I'm gonna type a fake phone number. Okay, save it. So as you can see, we have this content. Okay, so this is showing below this. It's because of this navigation. So I'm gonna add a class fixed top. Okay, so now we have the content right here. but the contents start from here. Okay, so I'm gonna select the content wrapper. Okay, so I'm gonna give it I'm gonna select that class, sorry, the ID, and I'm gonna paste it here, and I'm gonna give a padding left, oops, padding left variable, so sidebar width. So as you can see, we have the content here. So this padding will be applied to this content wrapper only if the browser window is equal to this 992 pixel or greater than. Otherwise, there will be no padding. So let me resize the window. So as you can see, we don't have that padding. And also, as you can see, this sidebar has no background color. So I'm gonna select it here. I'm gonna give a background color base. Okay, so as you can see, we have the background color. Okay, looking great. So if you see here, so our content is in this center vertically. Yeah, so every section is covering full viewport height, but if there is more content, then the height can increase. So as you can see here. Okay, so for that, I'm going to create a class. I'm going to create a helper class. So here I'm going to create a class. This will be full height. Okay, I'm going to give a minimum height 100 VH, and I'm going to give a height 100%. Okay, so I'm going to apply this class to this section. Full height, save it. Okay, so for now, let me just give it a BG dark color so you will see. Okay, so as you can see, it is now covering the viewport height. Okay, so also I want the content to be in this center, okay, vertically. So for that, I'm gonna give it a flex. I'm gonna set the display to flex. Okay, and I'm gonna give it align item center. So this is now in the center, but if I put another container here, so let me just put another container. So as you can see, this is displaying horizontally. So it's because the default property for the flex is row. So I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna remove this. Okay, I'm gonna change the flex direction to column. Okay, and then justify content center. So this is now in the center, and it is now at the top of each other. So I'm gonna remove one container. So I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna save it. Okay, so also I'm gonna give some spacing here. So for that, for the spacing, so I'm gonna select this section, and I'm gonna give padding on large devices and above 5 frame. Okay, so we have some space now. And also I'm gonna give some padding to this section. Padding top, I'm gonna give 80 pixel, and padding bottom 80 pixel as well. And I'm gonna give a border bottom as well. Border bottom 2 pixel solid, and the value is going to be white. And I'm gonna reduce the opacity to 0. Let's say 1. So we have this border right here. Okay, so I'm gonna give it a class to the heading is display 4. Okay, and I'm gonna give a font weight bold class. Okay, and then I'm gonna wrap this UI UX designer. I'm gonna give it a class text brand. I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, so I'm gonna create the text brand class here. Color will be the brand color. So as you can see, and I'm gonna give it a class to the paragraph lead. Okay, and then I'm going to design this button and this link. So as you can see, we have this effect right here. So I'm going to design the button first. I'm going to select that button. I'm going to select create a button. Oops, I'm going to select the button, yeah, and I'm going to give a padding, let's say 12 pixel and 28 pixel. Okay, I'm gonna give a font weight 700. Okay, then I'm gonna select button brand class. I'm gonna change the background color to the brand color. Also, I'm gonna change the border color to the brand color. Okay, so let's see. And then I'm gonna select button brand on hover and button brand on focus state. I'm going to change the background color to this brand color 2, color to this dark color, the base color. Okay, so as you can see, and border color to this brand color 2. Okay, so I'm gonna give this color on the normal state as well. Okay, and I'm gonna select this link. So I'm gonna select custom link. Okay, I'm gonna give a font weight 700. Set the position to relative, and then I'm gonna select the custom link. After, content will be nothing, empty, and width is going to be 100%. Height is going to be 2 pixel. Okay, and I'm gonna give a background color, this brand color. Okay, set the position to absolute, from the left 0, and from the top, let me just give it 100%. Okay, so this should be link custom. Save it. So as you can see, we have this line. So I'm gonna hide this line. I'm gonna give a width 0%. Okay, and I'm gonna give a transition as well. Okay, so when on hover, link custom on hover, then I'm gonna select the after pseudo, and I'm gonna set the width to 100%. Save it. So as you can see, we have that effect. And I'm gonna give some space between the button and this link. I'm gonna select this button. I'm gonna give margin end 3 rem. Okay, looking great. And also I'm gonna adjust the space between the title and this paragraph text. So I'm gonna select this lead text from the top 2 rem. Okay, and from the bottom 4 rem. Okay, looking great. So that's it for the home section. So now I'm gonna design the services section. So I'm going to create a comment. Yeah, services. And I'm going to create a section. I'm going to give it an ID services, and also I'm going to give a class full height, and I'm going to give padding on large and above large 5 frame. So as you can see, we have that border bottom and this full height section. Okay, so here I'm going to create a container. Okay, so I'm going to create a container. Inside this container, I'm going to create a row, and inside this row, I'm going to create column LG add. Okay, I'm going to put H1, and the text is going to be services. I'm going to copy services. No, this should be H6. Save it. So let's see. Okay, and the text will be text brand. Save it, and I'm gonna put H1 services that I provide. Save it, and let's see. Okay, then I'm gonna create these 3 different services, and with this effect on hover. So I'm gonna give this row padding bottom, let's say 4 rem. Okay, so I'm gonna create another row. Okay, so inside this row, I'm gonna create column, let's say column MD4 on medium devices, and above it will cover 4 column space, and below this it will gonna cover 12 column space. So I'm gonna create a class service. I'm gonna create an icon box class, and I'm gonna put the icon. So I'm gonna visit to the Line Awesome website, and so these are the different icons that you can use, and this is very cool pack. So I'm gonna search for, let me search for the feather. So I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna paste it right here. Save it. Okay, so as you can see, we have that icon. Okay, then I'm gonna create a heading 4. I'm gonna copy the text, and I'm gonna copy the paragraph text as well. Okay, save it, and here I'm gonna create a link, and I'm gonna give a class link custom. The text will be read more. Okay, save it, and let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna give a padding to this service. So I'm gonna give a padding 4 rem. Okay, and I'm gonna create a new helper class. So this will be bg base. Okay, background color will be base. Okay, so let me apply that class here. So bg base. Okay, and I'm gonna give a border radius, so I'm gonna type rounded, let's say 3 rem or 4 rem. Okay, and then I'm gonna add another class, shadow effect. Okay, so I'm gonna add that class right here. I'm gonna select that class, shadow effect, and give a transition 0.5 second. Okay, and then I'm gonna give a shadow effect on hover. I'm gonna give a box shadow. Oops. Box shadow. So from the X 0, from the Y 0, blur 0, and spread is going to be add pixel, and the color is going to be the brand color. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we have that effect, but I'm gonna type from the x-axis, let's say -6 pixel, and from the y 6 pixel. So as you can see, we have that shadow effect. Okay, so we don't have the exact effect. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove the spread to 0. Save it and let's see. So as you can see, we have the exact same kind of effect. Okay, looking great. Okay, so then I'm going to select the icon box class. I'm going to give a width, say 60 pixel, height 60 pixel, display flex, align item center, and justify content center. I'm going to give a font size, let's say 32 pixel, change the background color to the base color. No, change the background color to the brand color. Brand color, and the text color will be base color. Save it. So as you can see, we have this icon. So I'm going to select the icon box class here, and I'm going to add another class, rounded 3. Save it. Let's give it a rounded 4. Okay, and I'm going to adjust the spacing between the text and the icon. So I'm going to select this H4. From the margin top, I'm going to give 4 rem, and margin bottom, let's say 2 rem. Okay, looking great. So I'm gonna copy this column, paste it, select this, and I'm gonna paste it again. Okay, so we have these 3 different services. So I'm gonna search for tool, or let me search for ruler. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this one, and I'm gonna paste it right here. I'm gonna search for laptop, and I'm gonna select this one, copy it, and I'm gonna paste it right here. And I'm gonna change the title to web designing. This will be branding, and this will be UX design. Save it and let's see. Okay, so we have these services. Okay, so I'm gonna change the H4 to select these, change this to H5. Okay, so H5 is looking cool. Okay, so as you can see, if I click on the services, it goes to the services section, but these links are not active accordingly. So like we have in this finished project. So as you can see, so for that, I'm gonna search for Scrollspy. Okay, then click on the via data attribute. Okay, copy this, and I'm gonna paste it right here, and I'm gonna target the navigation bar. Select this navigation bar nav link, and when these links have a class active, then I'm gonna change the color for the text to the brand color. Save it. So as you can see, I'm in the home section, so this link is active. If I click on the services, so this is now active. Okay, looking great. So what I'm gonna do next is to design this work section. So before designing that, let me just add these animations. So when you scroll down, as you can see, so for that I'm gonna visit to the animate on scroll. Okay, and then click on the view on GitHub. Okay, so we have to initialize this. So I'm gonna copy this. Okay, visit to the main.js, and I'm gonna paste it right here. So I'm gonna remove this. Okay, so then I'm gonna copy this class. So as you can see, when I scroll down, fade up, so I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna visit to the index.html. I'm gonna apply this on the heading. Okay, save it. So let's see if this is working. So as you can see, it's working. Okay, looking great. And let's give this column LG 10. Okay, so as you can see, the animation is happening a little bit fast. So you can override these values. So the duration is 400. So if I increase this to 1000, so as you can see, this is happening very slow, the animation. Okay, so I'm gonna set this to, let's say, 800 or 700. Okay, so you can change the easing value, or the once option is false. If I set this to true, so the animation will occur only one time. So I'm gonna leave that as it is. So I'm gonna copy this. Okay, and I'm gonna paste that here as well. So as you can see, these two, the animation is exactly the same for this paragraph and the heading. So I'm gonna add the delay to this paragraph. Okay, so I'm gonna search for delay. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna paste it here. So as you can see, that the heading animation occurs first, and then after 300 milliseconds, then the paragraph. Okay, looking great. And I'm gonna wrap these CTS inside a div. I'm gonna paste it. Let me format the document. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this, fade up. Okay, and I'm gonna paste it right here, and I'm gonna increase the delay to, let's say, 600 milliseconds. Okay, so you can play around with these values. So I think that's it. So I'm gonna copy this for the services section. Okay, so I'm gonna paste this on this row. Okay, I'm gonna remove the delay, and I'm gonna paste this on the first service column. I remove the delay. Okay, and the second one will have a delay 300, and the third one will have a delay, let's say, 600. Okay, so as you can see, Okay, looking great. Okay, so that's it for the services. So I'm gonna design the work section. So I'm gonna collapse this, and here I'm gonna create a comment. So this will be work. I'm gonna create a section. I'm gonna give ID work, and I'm gonna give a class full height and padding left 5 rep. I'm gonna create a container, and let me just copy the intro row. So the intro text row. So I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna paste it right here. Okay, so I'm gonna rename this to work, and I'm gonna change the text to my recent. Okay, so let's see. Okay, then I'm gonna create another row. Inside this row I'm gonna create a column LG4. Inside this I'm gonna create a class card custom. Okay, so I'm gonna give another class inside this, image. Okay, so I'm gonna put an image here. So I'm gonna select the project one. Okay, so this should be on LG6. Okay, and I'm gonna give this custom card border radius rounded 4. Also I'm gonna give this rounded 4 class to this image, and also I'm gonna give class rounded 4. Okay, so these images that I have used in this project are from the dribble, so link to that for the demonstration purpose only, and I'm gonna leave a link to their profile in the description of the video. Okay, so then I'm gonna copy this text, and I'm gonna create another class. This will be card custom content. This should be inside h4. I'm gonna copy the text, and I'm gonna paste the text right here. And I'm gonna put the anchor tag, and I'm gonna give a class link custom, and the text will be read more. Save it, and let's see. Okay, and also I'm gonna give a bg base color, bg base class. Okay, and I'm gonna give a padding 4 rem to this content, so as you can see, and I'm gonna give a class shadow effect that we have created before. So as you can see, I'm gonna select this custom card, okay, so I'm gonna paste that right here. Then I'm gonna select custom card image. Okay, I'm gonna set the position, I'm gonna set the overlay to overflow hidden. Then I'm gonna select custom card image. Then I'm gonna select the image. I'm gonna give a transition. Okay, and on hover, card custom on hover. Then I'm gonna select the image, and I'm gonna give a transform scale 1.1. Let's see. So as you can see, we have that effect, but it is not smooth, so let me check. Okay, so this should be card. So as you can see, we have that exact same kind of effect. Okay, so let's see the responsiveness. Okay, so looking cool. Okay, so I'm gonna adjust the spacing between these cards, services, and I'm gonna give gutter top and bottom for rim. Okay, so I want to show two items at this breakpoint. So I'm gonna select this column LG. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna paste it, and I'm gonna change the image to, let's say, 2 and this will be 3. I'm gonna copy and paste this one more time. This will be 4, 3, 2, and save it, and let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna give gutter top and bottom, say 4 rim. Okay, so as you can see, and let's see, at this breakpoint I want to show two items. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select this column LG, Control D, and I'm gonna rename this to column MD. Okay, so as you can see, we have two items now. Okay, looking great. Okay, so that's it for the projects. Then I'm gonna create another section. So let me adjust the spacing a little bit. Okay, save it, and then I'm gonna collapse this, and I'm gonna copy this row. I'm gonna create another section. So before doing that, so I'm gonna create a comment. This will be about. Okay, so I'm gonna create a section. I'm gonna give an ID about. I'm gonna create a container, and I'm gonna pass that here. Okay, so I forgot to add this animation to these projects, so I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna copy this. Okay, so I'm gonna paste that here. I'm gonna remove the delay. Delay will be 300. This will be the third one that remove the delay, and I'm gonna paste it here and set the delay to 300 millisecond. So as you can see, okay, looking great. So I'm gonna give this a class full height, padding left, say 5 frame. Okay, so in the about us section, we have these two columns. In these two columns, on the left side we have the education section, and on the right we have the experience. Okay, so for that I'm gonna create a row. Inside this row I'm gonna create column LG6. Okay, and inside this column I'm gonna create another row. Okay, and I'm gonna put H4. this will be education. Okay, and I'm going to rename this to about, and the text will be my education and experience. Okay, so let's see. And I'm gonna copy this fade up. Okay, and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna paste it right here for the h4. I'm gonna give a data delay to, let's say, 300 millisecond. Okay, and inside this row I'm gonna give a gutter space top and bottom 4, and inside this row I'm gonna add the gutter top and bottom to 5 frame. Okay, so I'm gonna create a column 12. Okay, so this will be, I'm gonna create a div, give it a bg base, padding 4 rem, and rounded 4 rem, and shadow effect. Okay, so let's see. So I'm gonna copy this title, so this will be h5. I'm gonna paste it. I'm gonna create a paragraph, and I'm gonna give a class text brand. I'm gonna copy this, paste it. I'm gonna create another paragraph, and I'm gonna copy this text. Okay, save it, and let's see. Okay, looking cool. So I'm gonna adjust the spacing, so this should be, okay, so this should be h3. Okay, and I'm gonna give a margin bottom as well, margin bottom 4 rem. Okay, and I'm gonna remove the margin bottom from the last paragraph to 0. Okay, and I'm gonna give another class margin bottom, let's say 3 rem or 2. Okay, and this should be h4. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna apply it here, and I'm gonna increase the delay to, let's say, 600. Okay, so now I'm gonna duplicate this column. Okay, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy this, okay, so I'm going to create another column. So the first one is on the left side, and this will be on the right side. Okay, and I'm going to paste it right here. Okay, so this should be experience, and you can change the delay for this one. So let me change the delay to, let's say, 900. So as you can see, this will, after 900 millisecond, it will gonna come from the bottom to the top. So just like this. So I'm gonna leave that as 600. And for the experience, I'm gonna copy this text. I'm gonna paste it. save it. Okay, so looking great. Okay, so now I'm gonna design the reviews section. So for the reviews, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy this section and I'm gonna paste it right here. I'm gonna remove this row. Okay, so the ID will be reviews. Okay, so this will be reviews. Let me copy this heading text. Okay, so I'm gonna design this review. So for that, I'm gonna need another row. Inside this row, I'm gonna create column MD4. Okay, so I'm gonna create another class. This will be review. Okay, so I'm gonna give a BG base color. Okay, and I'm gonna search for star. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this star, copy it, and inside this class I'm gonna create another class. I'm gonna give a text brand and I'm gonna paste that star. Oops, I have to copy this. Copy it. Okay, paste it one more time. So let's see. So we have these stars, and below this I'm gonna create a paragraph text. I'm gonna copy the text and I'm gonna paste it. And I'm gonna create another div. I'm gonna give a class person. I'm gonna put h5 John Dewey and create a paragraph, and I'm gonna remove the margin bottom to 0. I'm gonna set the margin bottom to 0 and I'm gonna type Twitter. Okay, save it and let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna give a padding for him. Okay, I'm gonna give a rounded 4. Okay, and I'm gonna increase the height, so I'm gonna add a class h4. Let's say h5. Okay, and then I'm gonna remove the margin bottom, so I'm gonna remove margin bottom to 0. Okay, and let me just give some spacing. So I'm gonna select the paragraph. I'm gonna type margin top and bottom 4 rem or 3 rem. Okay, 3 is looking fine. And I'm gonna give this fade off as well. Okay, so I'm gonna select this, add this fade up. So you can try these different animation like flip left. So I'm gonna give flip left. So as you can see when I scroll down, so as you can see, this is looking very cool. So I'm gonna stick to the fade up. Okay, and I'm gonna duplicate this column. I'm gonna paste it. Okay, so let me give the delay to the second one. Data is delay. The delay is going to be 300. Okay, and the delay for this one is going to be 600 millisecond. So let's see. Okay, so let's see the responsiveness. Okay, looking great. So now I'm gonna design the blog section. So for the blog, I'm gonna copy this. So the comment will be reviews. So I'm gonna copy this section and I'm gonna paste it here, and I'm gonna remove the last row. So I'm gonna remove this row. Okay, so I'm gonna add a shadow effect class. Okay, so I'm gonna open this. I'm gonna select the review. Okay, here I'm gonna add a class shadow effect. So as you can see, we have that effect, and I'm gonna design the blog section. So I'm gonna scroll down. I'm gonna rename this to, oops, this should be blog. Okay, the text for the h6 is going to be blog, and the h1 text will be my blog posts. Okay, so I'm gonna copy the custom card. Okay, so let me copy the custom card. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna create another row, column md6, 4, and I'm gonna paste that right here, and I'm gonna change the image to blog post 1. Okay, and I'm gonna copy this date, and here I'm gonna create a paragraph. Color will be the brand color, and save it. So let's see. So I'm gonna remove this paragraph text. I'm gonna copy this text. This is going to be h5, and I'm gonna paste this text right here. Okay, so I'm gonna adjust the spacing. So I'm gonna give a margin bottom, let's say 2 rem, and then I'm gonna select h5. I'm gonna give a margin bottom 4 rem. Okay, and the color will be text brand. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate this, and also I'm gonna give a gutter space between the column to 4 rem. And let me just add this fade of animation to this card as well. So I'm gonna copy this, paste it, and paste it. So I'm gonna give a delay to, let's say, 300, and also 600 for this one, and I'm gonna change the image to 2 and 3. Save it, and let's see. So let's see the responsiveness for the reviews. Okay, so we have to give some space right here. So I'm gonna select the reviews for him. Okay, looking great. Awesome. So now I'm going to design the contact us section. The ID will be blog. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this section. Okay, so I'm going to remove the last row. Okay, so the comment will be contact. Okay, so inside this row, so as you can see on the finished project, we have the text in this center and the form as well in this center. So for that, I'm gonna type justify content center, save it. So as you can see, this is now in the center and the text alignment center as well. So the text will be contact for the heading 1. And I'm gonna copy this text. Okay, so let's see. So I'm gonna design the form here. So I'm gonna create another row, or inside this row I'm gonna create a form. Okay, so and I'm gonna create a row inside this form, so I'm gonna give a class row. Okay, so then I'm gonna create a form group class, which is a Bootstrap class. Yeah, I'm gonna create an input. Okay, type is text and class is going to be form control. Okay, okay, and this should be inside this column LG. So I'm going to copy this, or let me just create another column LG add, and I'm going to paste it right here. Okay, so this will cover column on MD on medium 6 column space, and the text will be placeholder text will be, let's say, your name. So I'm gonna type enter your name. Okay, I'm gonna give a gutter spacing, let's say 3, gutter on LG 3, and gutter top and bottom 3 rem. So I'm gonna copy this. So I'm gonna remove the padding from that, and I'm gonna give a padding bottom 4 rem. Okay, so we have some space between the form and the heading. So I'm gonna copy this. This type will be email, and placeholder text will be enter your email. Save it. So as you can see. Okay, so then I'm gonna copy this column, and it will gonna cover 12 column space, and the type will be text, and the placeholder is going to be enter subject. And I'm gonna copy this one more time, and here I'm gonna create a text area. Okay, so I'm gonna remove the column and ID, and the row will be 4, and I'm gonna give a form control class. Placeholder is going to be enter your message. Save it, and let's see. Okay, looking great. So I'm gonna copy this one more time, and I'm gonna put a button here. btn brand. Text will be contact me, and the type will be submit. Okay, so I'm gonna add another class, display grid. So this will gonna cover the whole space. Okay, so in the finished project we have the form like this. So I'm going to design like that. So I'm gonna rename this ID to contact. Okay, so I'm gonna select the contact section and select the contact ID. Then I'm gonna select the form control class. I'm gonna give a background color, base color. Okay, and also I'm gonna give a border color, variable base color. Change the color to body color. Okay, so as you can see, and I'm gonna select this. I'm gonna on focus. I'm gonna change the border color to the brand color. Okay, so as you can see, and I'm gonna remove the shadow. So I'm gonna remove box shadow to none. Okay, so I'm gonna change the color for the placeholder. So I'm gonna copy this one more time. Placeholder color will be body color. So as you can see, and then I'm gonna select this one more time. I'm gonna select the input having a class form control. And I'm gonna increase the height to 44 pixel. So as you can see, height has now increased. Okay, so this is looking cool. Okay, so what I'm gonna do next? Okay, so I'm gonna next design this footer. So for the footer, I'm gonna collapse this section. I'm gonna create comment for the footer. And I forgot to add the animation. No, we have the animation, so yeah, just like this. And I'm gonna give the delay to this form. So I'm gonna remove this, apply this to this column LG8, apply this, and I'm gonna give a delay to, let's say, 300 millisecond. Okay, looking great. So I'm gonna design the footer. So for the footer, I'm gonna select footer tag. I'm gonna give a padding, padding top and bottom 5 frame. Okay, so I'm gonna create a container. Inside this container, I'm gonna create a row, column auto. Okay, so I'm gonna put a paragraph text, remove margin bottom, and I'm gonna type copyright text goes here, and I'm gonna duplicate this, and this will be, so I'm gonna put the social icons. So I'm gonna create a div. I'm gonna give a class social links. So I'm gonna search for Twitter. I'm gonna copy this. Okay, I'm gonna place it right here. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate this. Twitter, Instagram, Dribble, and GitHub. Okay, so we have these social icons. So I'm gonna push these to the right side. So for that, I'm gonna give a gutter top and bottom forum and justify content between. Okay, and also I'm gonna give a padding left and right on LG 5 frame. Okay, so I'm gonna design the social icons. Social icons. I'm gonna change this to icons. Okay, then I'm gonna select social icons anchor tag. I'm gonna give a width and height, let's say 40 pixel, height 40 pixel, display and line flex. So I want the content to be in this center, so for that align item center and justify content center. I'm gonna go background color base 2, base color, and I'm gonna give a border radius 100 pixel and increase the font size to, let's say, 24 pixel. Okay, looking great. Okay, so let's see the responsiveness. And so I'm gonna select on 1440, looking cool. Home, services, work, about, reviews, blog, contact. So I'm gonna show this on tablet. Okay, looking great. And let's see this on the mobile. Okay, so as you can see on the mobile, it is also looking perfect. Okay guys, so that's it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. So if you did, make sure to like the video, and thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.